Why has Rigathi Gachagua and Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka resorted to wooing Edwin Sifuna, the Nairobi senator, and also Babu, the Embakasi East member of parliament, into the united opposition front and also to a larger extent the ODM party? First and foremost, I would like to state that in politics, nothing happens by default or by coincidence. It is either planned or it is very relevant to the cause of that particular politics within that time. Now, if we check between Rigathi Gachagua and Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, could it mean that the United Opposition Front have already settled on Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka? This rhetorical question is informed by the previous plays in politics that have taken place both in the United Opposition Front and also within the ODM party that is in the broad-based government. Recently, Rigathi Gachagua claimed that President William Samoei Ruto bought ODM as a party and deposit has already been paid to Junet Mohammed and Gladys Wanga. But again, we've also heard him calling Babu Owino great leaders and Edwin Sifuna great leaders that DCP has no problem supporting. And if they feel that they don't like him as a person, there are other parties within the United Opposition Front that they may join, like YPI. Tickling down the clock into Raila Amolo Odinga's burial and then rows of visitors who were visiting Kangoka Jaramogi, Kalonzo Musyoka was one of them. And in one particular moment, we had Mama Ida Odinga, Ruth Odinga, and Senator Agribob James Orengo saying that and giving praises to Kalonzo. They were actually saying a similar thing, that Kalonzo is a good leader. And at this particular moment, where Ida did tell Kalonzo, now don't only lead the campus, but lead Kenya as a whole nation. Do you think while she was saying this, she didn't know that ODM is in broad-based government? ODM in itself did say that no matter who wins the elections, they are not going to be in the opposition. So whoever forms the government, ODM will be part of it. And we can see right now, Rigathi Gachagua and Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka trying to woo ODM into the opposition side. Well, it already tells you that ODM has already placed itself in a space whereby whoever wins the elections, ODM will have a stake. Where does this leave the Gen Zs who has a personal beef with ODM that was created predominantly by Raila Amolo Odinga when he decided to join and wash the dirty linen of William Samoei Ruto during the Gen Z uprising? Because they still haven't forgotten the killings, extrajudicial killings, state-sanctioned abductions, and state-sponsored violence melted against them during the peaceful demonstrations. Politicians are the same. That's why we say there has never been a regime change. Now, back to the question I asked, why is Gachagua and Kalonzo trying to woo Babu Owino and Sifuna? Now, between Gachagua and Kalonzo, who is easier to sell beyond the mountain, beyond the Kamba nation, beyond the coastal region? Yes, both Gachagua and Kalonzo could be sold in the Luya nation in the western side. But in Luo Nyanza, it will be a tall order to sell Gachagua. But Kalonzo is sellable. There is this particular moment in the burial of Raila Odinga's sister, Mbeere Odinga, where the senator for Homa Bay, Moses Kanyuanga, did say that Kalonzo is a person, is a good leader, and they don't have a problem with it. Actually, Raila Amolo Odinga gave them firm instructions not to castigate Kalonzo Musyoka in whatsoever manner, but they are worried about the friends that Kalonzo is keeping. The same thing that Gachagua repeated while addressing ODM, addressing Babu and Edwin Sifuna. Like, if you feel I am the problem, you don't want to support Gachagua. I mean, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is here. He has been your friend for over 15 years, sacrificing his political ambitions to become the president and supporting your own Raila Amolo Odinga. Why don't you give that support to him? Because otherwise, you are going to lose, especially in Nairobi. So the cards are already being placed on the table. It is about you to select them. Now, you don't need to be told that some negotiations are happening in these boardrooms. Whatever these politicians are telling us is hints. We are being given just the tip of the iceberg. The real gist is behind the non-verbal cues. The real gist is behind what is not being verbally said. Yes, the United Opposition and the ODM are wooing each other, trying to balance the stakes in which side to join. Where does this leave us as the electorate? Do we have a choice, or a choice is being made for us? It seems like either way, the recyclement of leaders is not stopping any time sooner. I understand that there is need for the United Opposition to find worth and relevant partners to make sure that they win these upcoming elections in 2027 by a landslide, to an extent that even rigging might become so difficult. But will it show that the will of the people has been done, or simply it will be manipulation of the electorate into voting a choice that they have been given? Have you understood my question? Sometimes all the candidates you see in the ballot might not be ideal. They all might be popular, but they may not be ideal. In that case, what do? Do you just vote? Because if you don't also, it's as if you haven't played your role as an electorate. Therefore, politics is a game of chess. You may not understand it. It's only those politicians with a good will of changing the status quo that might help the people. Because the ODM that betrayed the Gen Zs by joining the government is the same ODM that the United Opposition Front is inviting in their camp. Per se, I would have no problem with them inviting Edwin Sifuna and Babu, because from the word go, these two clearly said they are not part of the broad-based government. And Babu did say that for him to support William Samoei Ruto, maybe if he loses his brain cells. Understand that? Now, inviting it in one umbrella as ODM, that again spoils the whole gist. What do you think? What's your take in this? Kindly give me your thought in the comment section below. If you love content of this nature and you're watching from my YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and press the notification button. So anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Hafiz is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in Dab Radio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dab Radio ndio mpango mzima.